everybody. So today it's a little bit windy, so hopefully you'll be able to hear okay. But I thought I would do a little walkthrough tour of the property today, just to give you an idea of what it looks like. And then you can travel or follow us on our adventures over the next few years as we transform it into our home. So I'm going to start at the gate. Okay, here we are at the beginning of our property. You can see the little fence post right there with the little flag on it, and then you can see some more goes down there. But anyway, that's the property line. And so we have this little section right here. The fiber company was nice enough at some point to install fiber up to here, so if we ever want to run it to our cabin, we can. Anyways, this whole, let me just pan a little bit. You can see the top of the hill. On the top of that hill, you see a little roof. That's the A-frame that's at the top of our property. So all this area is our property. It's about 24 acres. Has a combination of kind of junipers, piñons. It looks like some ponderosa pines and some other kinds of pine trees. A lot of scrub oak and that sort of thing. And sagebrush, of course, because we're in Utah. Anyways, I'm just going to give you a tour and walk. I'll speed up the video at some point because it might get a little boring. But anyways, so you come on down and there's this rickety old gate that it doesn't lock or anything. It's just tied. We haven't really had a problem with people coming up. We did have one quad or side-by-side drive up here one day, but they realized that it was occupied, and so therefore they turned around. I think nobody's really been on this property for a lot of years. So the guy that owned it before us had it for 30 years, and I think he pretty much stopped working on it about, I don't know, 5 to 10 years ago, because of age and different things, I think. Anyway, don't know for sure. This right here used to be a single track, or the 2-track road through here, and when my brother came last weekend and the weekend before, he cleared this out and made it so that we've now got ourselves a really nice turnaround point so that we can get deliveries and get bigger RVs up in here and get them turned around. And in fact, this spot over here, we leveled off pretty good so that actually an RV could park there, or actually several RVs could park on both sides of this if we wanted. Anyways, it's a big area. Anyway, but as you can see, it's just beautiful. And if you look over, sometimes there's deer. Well, there's always deer. We find deer all over the property, which I love. I love to just sit and watch the deer. I can look out the front window of my RV and just watch the deer. It's really nice. We've seen some raptor birds flying. We've got lots of squirrels and chipmunks. Anyway, I'll talk more about that when we get up to the top. But right here is where we got our fill dirt. This will eventually, let me zoom out a little bit. This will eventually be the place where we're gonna put a shop and garage. One that's big enough to put the RV in. And it will be heated so that we can potentially winter over if we need to here, or at least to the colder parts of the year. So continuing down, we're walking. We've had to take a tree out here. I don't like taking trees out, but when they're growing as close to the road as this one was, we had to cut it way back when we brought the rig in, and so it was half gone anyway. And this will be where the garage and shop will be, with an area in front of it for us to turn vehicles around and things. Anyways, so that tree got pulled out when my brother was here and is now sitting over there. Our plan with all the different trees and limbs and things we've had to cut off because no one has maintained the road and the trees. We're gonna chop them up and use them as firewood over time, so they don't go to waste, and maybe even wood chip them up and use the sawdust for different things. Anyways, right here where you see this pink little tag is the start of where our home will be eventually. It's probably, I don't know, 3 to 5 years down the road before we get started on that. But this area right here will be our home. It'll start here at kind of road level, and then it'll be a walkout basement. We're not sure if it'll end up being 2 or 3 levels, probably just 2. We want all the living area to be on 1 level and everything to be handicap accessible, in case in our old age we end up needing things like that. But you can see the beautiful tall, I think they're ponderosas. I have not confirmed that, but they have the long needles like the ponderosa trees and the bark like the ponderosa. And I love that stand of 3 that are together right there. Anyway, I'm just gonna walk now, and I'll probably speed this up. We're early enough that the trees haven't budded out yet, a lot of them. But anyway, and it's, middle of May, almost Memorial Day. I just wanted to stop here because this is one of my favorite spots on the whole property, because it's such a pretty view with those big pine trees across the way. Like I said, I think they're ponderosas. Anyway, they're just beautiful. This is a beautiful little section right here. And oftentimes there'll be deer down in the bottom of this, kind of grazing down in there. So I'm gonna keep going. You'll hear me huffing and puffing, although I'll speed up the video because there's a lot of elevation. And we're at 7,500 feet, and I'm getting back in shape, but this is definitely getting me back in shape. It's a lot of hard work. We've got kind of this cool dead tree here, but we're gonna have to end up taking that down probably because it's rotting away and is gonna fall down at some point right across the road probably. But it's really pretty beautiful. You can see the top there. Anyway, yeah, pretty cool stuff. So here's the work that we did also over the last bit. That's where the RV is now parked. Lots of good gravel. And we can look right up this pretty canyon, and there's always deer up in there too. And we got a new culvert. Let's go over here to the new culvert. We got our new culvert right here that my brother helped us build in the previous video. You saw that. These are rocks from his property. Thank you, Reed. Anyways, we have also planted a couple of plants. We've got some thyme right here and some rhubarb, and we got another rhubarb over on the other side of the culvert right over there. The deer will probably eat them, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. So anyways, we also extended this side of the culvert substantially because I think the road used to stop right there. You can see the difference in the dirt. And we expanded it, added another 10 feet of culvert, and then expanded it to make this area easy to back in and turn around and things like that. So we may eventually add more dirt here. We don't know for sure. But anyways, now I'm just going to stop talking and walk up the road. This is quite an incline, so I'll be huffing and puffing, but here we go. I'm gonna zoom back out. There we go. Should have ended in the Jeep. But I figure this is my exercise program. Walk to the top of my property every day. Anyways, oh look, we have a squirrel right over here in the tree. I don't know if you can see him. Right there. Hey squirrel. See if we can get him to move. Oh, he's looking at us. Hi squirrel. See you later. Anyways, That's one of the things I really love. It's just all the wildlife. And the trees, I mean, look at this beautiful tree. I just love evergreens. So pretty. Anyway, and here we go. The scrub oak is finally starting to bud out in some places on the property. Others not so much. Some gets more direct sun. See the road down there. That's where I started walking. So it's a ways down there. Anyway, coming back. We'll keep on going. So this corner also got some work done because it was super steep and sharp. So my brother Reed expanded it, making it much more practical to get a truck and trailer around. You can see the road down there again. But this is the view we have from this point. This is one of my favorite spots on the property too. Really, really beautiful spot. And in fact, there's enough room right here that you could park a small RV and have amazing panoramic kind of view. It does get windy up here on top a lot, and that's one of the reasons that we're gonna build. Sorry, I'm breathing so hard, you guys. It's steep. Anyway, that road I just came up is a 6% grade. The one we're gonna go up next is 12. So anyways, it is beautiful, and what was I saying? I don't remember. Anyway, it just takes my breath away every time I see it. That's one of the reasons I fell in love with the property. Oh, I was talking about we're building down below in the valley. Part of the reason is because we want to be able to winter here and live here full time. And getting up this 12%, 6%, then 12% grade in the winter time would require a tracked vehicle, which we could do, but it's also quite often super windy up here on top. But up here on top is a good place for solar and a few other things. And it's where the previous guy was building the cabin. So I'm gonna be quiet while I huff and puff up this 12% grade. Okay, well, I had to pause for probably a couple minutes to get my heart rate come back down after that 12% grade. I'm hoping that will improve over time. But here we are at the top. And this is where the previous owner did all his work, which I get because the view up here is amazing. But anyway, right over here in this flat area is a septic tank that he installed. He's got a tiny bit of solar, enough to keep these buildings running. And then we have a garage here, which has various items in it. And everything that was on the property at the time came with it. So we inherited a little Kubota BX23 BT600 tractor that has a backhoe. It lives in that garage. We call it the Tonka toy, or Tonka. Anyway, my brother nominated that name for it, so we like it. Anyway, but you can see there's just junk everywhere. I mean, over here by the solar, there's a bunch of wood junk. There's Oh, look there, we got our friend chipmunk right there. We got way too many chipmunks running around. We love them, but they're living in the eaves of these buildings. And we have a serious mouse problem throughout these buildings. When we came into the garage the first time, I mean, nasty, just mouse droppings everywhere. And in the electrical room that has batteries. But, you know, we have a nice little kind of shed. This area seems to be free of mice. I don't know why, because it has a lot of gaps and stuff, but I mean, it's nothing big, but it's a little room. It's got a little water pump, and my brother actually slept in here a couple of nights when he was up here. So we have some cots that I brought up. Anyways, so just a little room. But you can see, like, look at all the junk everywhere. Just piles of junk everywhere. And then, you know, we got some good lumber that we're gonna probably store inside the A-frame just to keep it out of the elements. Yeah. And let's go over here, and then I'll come back to the buildings. But right over here we have the well. It's 790 feet deep, so it's a very deep well, which makes sense since we're on top of a hill. But it's a well, and it's got a water tank, and it's got this pump right here that right now we have to bring the generator out and hook it up to it, and then get the water running out of that spigot right there so that we can fill up a water bladder to fill up our RV down below. And then here's the tank itself for the water. And right here's a little trailer we inherited. However, you can see that it's gonna need some work. It's probably been sitting here for, I don't know, 5 to 10 years, something like that. Anyway, we gotta redo that. But this is gonna become our, quote, dump trailer. Oh, there's one of our motion sensing lights. We're finding that the chipmunks like to climb up into the different machines. Anyways, and so we're gonna redo this, and this is gonna become our dump trailer. You know, joke. Dump trailer is what we use for the gravel, but this is gonna become our dump trailer because we're gonna work it up so that we can put our Blue Boy on there, take it down to the RV, fill it up, bring it up here. And just the other day, yesterday or the day before, I can't remember. Anyway, Mike and my brother Reed finished off the connection into the sewer, into the septic tank, so we can dump. We've got one of our solar panel sets up here already. Here's the cabin. Most of this lumber is just been out in the elements so much it's not great. We'll salvage what we can, use what we can. You see all the junk. Oh, and there's Mike. He took the easy way up the hill and brought the Jeep. Anyways, we dug, this is the sewer pipe that goes to the septic that he had run to the cabin. Well, we dug down, spliced off of that, and made ourselves a dump right here. So that's where we'll be dumping our gray water. We of course have a composting toilet, so but that's what we'll be doing. Oh, important things are happening. Mike's getting his Coke. So, but I mean, you can just see all of this junk everywhere, just everywhere, junk everywhere. I cleared off this table because it had all the lumber on it. So we actually have a nice picnic table here. Well, not nice, but you know, it needs painted and stuff. But here's the electrical room. And it's nasty. It's got mouse droppings everywhere. I'm gonna pause it for a minute because I gotta check my mouse traps. But this is where we have the current solar coming into and some batteries in that box right there. But back in that corner is nasty. I gotta clean that out, sanitize it, and I think there's a nest back there. In fact, I just caught another mouse back there. So anyways, we've been putting out various mouse traps and poisons. I don't like killing creatures, but in this case, we kind of need to because it's a health hazard. Anyways, this is the garage where the Kubota, the Tonka Toy, our tractor, lives. I'm gonna turn the light on so we can see. Anyway, it's just a small little garage, and it also was infested pretty heavily with mice. I've cleaned the half over by the window over there. I've cleaned that side, and yet we still have more mouse droppings. And then I need to get over to this side over here, but we got to move a bunch of crap in order for that to happen. But we did inherit a few good tools and things, some ladders. So, you know, some of this stuff we've brought in, but there was a fair amount of things here. Lots of building materials. So yeah, it's a work in progress for sure. But yeah, that's the tour of the property. And say hi, Mike. I'm doing a tour. So yeah, he doesn't like being on video. Anyway, yeah, so up here, you know, you get the really beautiful view up here too. But it's always windy up here. So that building across the way there, I don't know if you can see it. Maybe if we zoom in, that one is an Airbnb. It appears to be booked deluxe, so we're thinking eventually we'll build an Airbnb up here, but we'll see. Anyway, that's the tour of the property. Enjoy. Oh, and remember to live life deliberately.